All right, today I want to go over how to nail the first impression on your SDR interview and the two specific questions that you want to have good answers prepared for. I'm an SDR manager and I've done dozens of interviews, and when a candidate has effective answers to these two questions, I know we probably have a good candidate on our hands. And stick around to the end because I'm going to show you how I would go about answering these questions. So what are these two specific questions? The first one is, why do you want to go into sales? And the second one is, why do you want to do so at this specific company? The reason these are two very important questions is because they're probably the most obvious questions that you as a candidate should be expecting. So a hiring manager is going to judge your answers because that shows your level of preparation and thought that you put into this interview. If you come unprepared to answer those questions and the way you answer, you're stumbling over your words or you're clearly trying to come up with it on the spot, that alone says a lot. So we're not as concerned with what your exact answer is, but as long as you're prepared and you have a good answer that's important and makes sense to you, that will stand out. So let's cover the first one, why sales? Not everyone knows that they want to go into sales. And when I was interviewing for my original SDR role, I didn't know for sure that I wanted to go into sales, but what I did know is that I wanted to give it my best shot and that I was ready to work hard and give it my all. And if at the end of the year or whatever the length of the SDR role was, if I didn't like sales, I'd figure it out. But I knew I was willing to put in my all and give it everything I had. So that's what you want to convey in that answer. You can say something like that. You can say, I'm not sure sales is going to be my long-term path. I think it might be for these reasons, but what I do know is that I'm going to be giving it my all and giving you my best effort to make the most out of this role. If you bring something like that up, that is a huge plus in the manager's eyes. For the second question, why do you want to do so at this company? You want to weave into your answer that you've done your research on the company, the industry, the growth prospects, the company's position within that industry. The manager is going to be very impressed if you bring all of that stuff up. You would be surprised at how many candidates show up to interviews and don't know anything about the company or the industry. And the reason that's a red flag is because if they're not prepared to talk about that stuff on an interview, how are they going to prepare on customer calls or for their cold calls when calling into customers? That is why those questions are important. So we're not nitpicking your answers. What we really want to see is that you're prepared and you know why you want to be here. So the beautiful thing about having good answers prepared for these two questions as well is that you can use them and weave them into other questions you might get asked. For example, if you get asked, why are you an ideal candidate? That's a common question. You can weave into your answer that you're an ideal candidate because you know why you want to go into sales and you know why you want to do so at this company. And that makes you unique because not a lot of people are prepared to answer those questions. So if you have good answers for why you want to go into sales and why you want to work at the company and be a part of the industry that the company's in, that's going to be a huge standout green flag at the beginning of the interview. And as we all know, people make first impressions at the beginning of an interview. So if you have good answers prepared for those within the first 5 minutes of the call, you're going to be on the right track for the rest of the interview. Yes, there are other questions that will get asked. I think it's important. I think some good traits are coachability, adaptability, things like that. But if you have good answers for why you want to go into sales, you're fired up to go into sales and you're ready to work hard and you know why you want to do so at the company you're interviewing for, chances are the manager is going to want you on their team. So keep that in mind. Those are the two most important questions to have solid answers for. Drop a comment if you have any other questions you think are important. If you want to go over how in more detail how I might answer those questions, I respond to all the comments. Use me as a backup manager if you need, and I'll see you on the next one. Hope you enjoyed.